Hey guys, welcome to another build video. It's been a really long time since I've done a build video on the channel, and the reason for that is not because I haven't been building, but because of what I've been building exactly. And what I've been doing is taking this Titanic model here and converting it into the third Olympic class ship, that of course being Britannic. Um, I've been working on this for the better part of 2024. I want to say I started this probably around March, April, or something like that. No later than that. So it's been very tedious and time consuming because you have to heavily modify this ship or this kit because on the surface, if you're looking at profiles of the ships, of course Britannic doesn't look all that different from her two sisters, but when you really get into it, there are huge differences in the ship. A lot of this has not been possible without modifying a lot of the pieces in the kit, scratch building certain pieces, and buying some 3D printed items from a company called Shapeways. For example, you can see here Britannic's gantry davits, which without this, modifying a kit into Britannic would be a non-starter because that's one of the most recognizable features of Britannic, which of course Olympic and Titanic did not have, as you can see here. But a lot has also changed since I started building this conversion. For example, I just mentioned a company, Shapeways. I bought several different pieces from that company in order to make this modification possible. That company has since shut down. Fortunately, it was after I bought everything I needed from them. So as far as I know, it is no longer possible to get the pieces that I bought. And again, there were several different pieces. You will see them throughout this build process in the coming videos. A few weeks ago, and mind you, like I said, I started this in either March or April. Well, a few weeks ago, Hobby Boss, which is the makers of this new kit, the HMT Olympic, have announced that they are going to be doing a Britannic kit. So on the plus side, all is not lost if you want Britannic. They said they were going to make this. They announced this kit at the beginning of the year. They made good on that. So I see no reason why they would not make good on the Britannic kit that's been announced. So as far as I can think, that's everything. I know that's a lot of information, but that's where we're at with this. So I'm going to stop blabbering now, and let's get into part one of the conversion of Titanic into Britannic.
Okay, so I've got Titanic here in the background, so you can see some of the modifications I've already made on the hulls, and you have to do these before you put the hull together. These are the plastic strips that I bought. This is the thickness, and that's what I'll be using throughout the build to make the necessary modifications. So looking at Titanic here, on the B deck aft, you've got 1, 2, 3 windows, and then like this, a fourth one that's like split in half. On Britannic, there were 5 windows there. So you have to modify that half one into a hole and then add another one. And that's how you get the 5 windows. On the A deck, you also have an extension. You have to extend by 2 windows on the A deck. And you do, of course, both sides of the hull. Another thing I had to do, and you can see these odd little shaped things here. These were extra support columns for the gantry davits that Britannic had. So you've got to make those modifications. You cut out like a little support column right here and here, and then 2 more further forward. And then you make these little extra support columns, and that's how you get those pieces in for the gantry davits. The next thing I'm going to be doing is on Britannic. You see how Titanic had this center bulwark. Britannic's bulwark on the boat deck was completely flush. So you would have a piece right here. And I've measured them out a little wider than what they actually are. And then right here. So I'm going to glue these into place and then file them down. That way you've got, this piece is completely flush. All right, so now the bulwarks are complete. You can see, move some of this out the way. They are now, the bulwark is now completely flush, as it actually was on Britannic. Done it on both sides. There is one last modification that we have to make, and that's over here in the aft well deck. So what you've got to do basically is cut out some little pieces like this, kind of like these. It kind of looks like an L shape. And what you need to do with that is you're going to put that into the well deck. Is on Britannic, and I've got the little 3D model here to show you. You can see Britannic's well deck was enclosed. There was an upper deck. So we've got to modify that. And that's what these little pieces here are for. C deck, just like the boat deck, the A deck, the B deck, were all extended farther aft. The idea with these little L-shaped pieces is to stick them in like this. And you're going to make, so that extends the C deck further aft. And then you've got, like so. That's how we make the little gap right there. And once this is glued into place, well, actually, before I glue it into place, there were support columns. And that shows up here on the little model, too. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these little microscopic pieces over here that I've got, glue 5 little sticks, and trim them down as needed to fit into here. And you want to make these larger as well. Don't try to make them exact to the exact dimensions when you first cut them out. Make them a little bit larger and just keep filing down as you need to until you have them exactly to the dimensions that they need to be. And this is going to fit perfectly in place when I go to glue it. And like I said, I'll already have the support columns glued down onto this. And it should go fairly simple. So that's what I'm doing next.
right, so hull is finally assembled, and I brought Titanic back in so we can actually see the physical differences now between the two. So starting with the boat deck, you see Titanic's got the bulwark and only in the center. Britannic's is completely flush. And if you look back over here, the A deck, the boat deck is longer, the A deck is longer, the B deck is longer, and back here the C deck is longer, and we've got the enclosed C deck right here. So the next modification that has to be made is on the well decks, but we're going to tackle the forward well deck first. If you're not familiar with the ship terminology, you see this sunken in piece right here and back here. Those are called the well decks. And Britannic's were a bit different. So looking at this piece here, you can see all of the decks are all on this one piece. This section up here, the triangular section before the well deck, is called the forecastle. There's no modifications there. Where we have differences is right here on the forward well deck. Britannic had a much larger cargo hatch. You can see Titanic had 2 cargo hatches. Olympic had the same. Whereas Britannic had one giant one spanning the length of both of these. So in order to make that happen, I've got my first 3D piece that I ordered from a company called Shapeways, and that is a 3D print of Britannic's hatch. So it's going to fit in like so, and it's not a perfect fit, and there's still modifications you need to make after the fact, but it can work, and it has worked. I've seen it work before. And you may not be able to see it too good, but there are gaps. So I either have to file the existing cargo hatches down on here, or I have to cut or file the 3D printed piece in order for it to fit flush. Once that's done, you can see there's still a gap right here between the 3D piece and the railing. So we'll have to make an extra piece using our styrene pieces in order to make all of that flush and make it accurate to the ship. So, see, as you know, the aft well deck was covered. There was a roof. And Shapeways helps us out again, where they have a 3D printed piece that is going to sit on top. But you've got to modify some things in here. The railings, for example, have to be cut away. And if you look at the back of Titanic, you can see it's these railings right here on both sides of the well deck. So they have to be cut and fit flush with the rest of the deck. So the way I'm doing that, and I'm not finished yet, I've done the 2 corners on both sides. I cut it off with the sprue and then use a file to file it down and make it flush. Now you'll also have to cut away the tops of the steps on all 4 sides for this to fit flush as well. And you can see it's not quite flush yet because of the fact that I still have to finish cutting the railings. Once I do that, this piece should fit flawlessly without any issues. Now, some of this is kind of optional. You really don't need to do anything with this area, to be quite honest. I'm going to paint the deck just to have it uniform with the other ships. But when you, Britannic has a, this was also enclosed as well. There was a second floor, and this is the Shapeways piece. Disregard the little crack right there. I kind of broke mine and put it back together. But this is going to fit here, and I'm not done filing it down yet to make it fit fully flush, but it's going to fit here, and it's going to be completely flush. And when you're looking in here, eventually, you're really not going to see anything. So Well, there are modifications you can make in this area to make it more accurate to how Britannic really was. You don't really need to, because you're really never going to see that stuff. So I'm not going to bother with that. One thing that we will not be able to get completely accurate, unfortunately, on the forward well deck is if you notice on Titanic, right here between the hatches, you've got this, I don't know, this little post. I forget what the actual name of it is. Well, on Britannic, obviously that is completely enclosed, but you had two off to the side right here. So we can drill a hole off to the side and still use the one that came with the kit. Now, if you're able to scratch build another one some kind of way, you can put another one in here. And yeah, that would be more accurate. But I may try it. I have not decided yet on that. I will cross that bridge when the time comes. So that's everything I wanted to share with you on this section. Deciding. The only other thing I'm going to do here on the aft well deck here is I am going to paint the winches, and that's about it, because again, this piece is going to be, you're pretty much not going to be able to see anything here. That's why it's okay if I'm being a little sloppy while painting this.
All right, that'll wrap up part 1 of converting a Titanic kit into Britannic. Hope you guys enjoyed this part 1 of the build. Of course, stay tuned to the channel, because subsequent parts will be coming out until this series is complete, and you will get to see what the final product is going to look like. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll see you back in part 2.